What's up, people? You're tuned into another podcast episode where we interview our friends, our family, our guests from the jump rope community. And this guest here, we kind of grew up, like grew up in the sport of jump rope together. We both started on a Facebook account, so we kind of got like a little backstory. Now she has transitioned, or she transitioned back into running, so we're going to get into that a little bit. But introduce my guest, Hollyn. Did I enunciate your name right?
Oh yeah, you got it.
Hollyn, aka Run with Hollyn. How you doing, sis?
Good. How you doing?
All right. So the first question I asked everybody is about your jump rope journey origin. Sorry.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, jump rope origin, I guess, was um I think really similar to a lot of people is kind of during when COVID kind of locked everything down at the time. I had been training for a half marathon and it got canceled, and that was kind of frustrating to me. So for a moment, I was like, I'm just gonna stop running. I don't want to because I spent all this time. And I had heard of the jump rope dudes before, but had only watched a few of their videos, done a few of their workouts. Um, but they got really popular, or even more popular. They already had a pretty good following at that point.
Right.
And I already had some cross ropes, and so I just started doing that as my workout because you can do that at home. And then how we kind of got connected was they had a Facebook page, which you kind of mentioned before.
Right.
Um, I forget what the name of it was, like
It
Do the
was
Thing,
like
maybe?
it was like a JRD 90-day challenge or something like that.
Oh, yes, yes. And so I joined that just to kind of join the community, have accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that other people were kind of posting their videos. I saw your videos on there, just crushing it with a legacy rope. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an account because I didn't want to keep sharing like all my jump rope with my personal account.
Right.
And that's kind of how it got started. Then I just kind of started posting consistently. Um, I don't post as much now, but that's kind of how I get started, just kind of doing it for working out. And then as I got more into jump rope, I found like Rush Athletics YouTube. And that's when it's like, okay, you can kind of do some more moves, kind of go beyond just the basics of kind of making it look a little bit more fancy, I'd say.
Right. So to bag back a little bit. So this Facebook account Holly is talking about, this the same account Kathy Jumps used to administrate on Facebook,
Yes.
and at this time Holly was killing the game for real. Like she had skills for sure. Like whatever I was doing at that time with the heavy rope was nothing compared to what she was doing at that time with the jump rope. So you was really killing it back then.
Thanks.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's just because I watched so much YouTube of like jump rope dudes, rush athletics, and just would practice all the time. Because school also, at the time I was in school, it was online, so I had a lot more free time.
Yeah. So so when you made your Instagram account, right, and then at this time that I can remember, Rush Athletics was starting to open up um, the ambassador program, and I was so happy that you quickly got chose to be one of the athletes for that. Like, you really had the skills to do that, so I was really happy about that. What
Thank
was
you.
your initial feeling about that? Like, did you know the impact RA had at that time before you became an athlete?
That's a good question. I think, yeah, so like I said, I discovered RA on YouTube and then kind of started following along. And I could sense it had an impact, but I think as I got more involved, and I saw more people kind of using the hashtags of Rush Athletics or RA Athlete or Money Rope or
Mm,
They Run We Fly. I just really noticed that, man, this community is really having a positive impact on people's like physical and mental health during the pandemic. So I think
Right.
as I got more into it, I realized, okay, this is not just a business, but it's really a community that Rushy created, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So so you mentioned that like you had the marathon canceled before. Now, how long have you been a running athlete, if that's the right terminology for it?
Yeah. I started running my first year of college because I I had played team sports throughout high school
Mm-hmm.
and didn't continue on until college. And um, I just wanted to, stay active. And where I went to school in at the University of Oregon, just that Eugene area is a really big running town. It's
Right.
nicknamed Track Town, USA. And so that was kind of
Interesting.
just, yeah, it was just kind of my go-to of, okay, they have lots of good running trails, and just a run like running friendly city just because there's so many people that do it. So I'd say since about 2019 started running. Once I did jump rope, I probably stopped for that was probably like a year and a half. I didn't really run as much, but now I'm back into it. I've been pretty consistent since 2021, maybe 2022.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you transition back, like did you miss the feeling that you felt when you was running? Like explain the running feeling.
Yeah. So for me, one reason that I really like running is I think you can do this with all forms of exercise. I think I just enjoy it the most with running is you can really I there's a few things I like. I like the physical aspect of you're kind of pushing yourself to, especially when you're training for races, to
Mm-hmm.
run longer. So you're increasing the duration, like starting with 3 miles to 4, and then long runs going up into the double digits. I just like that feeling of kind of building upon the progress, like each week, each month. And then I really like the mental clarity it has for me of with running, I don't listen to like, I don't have my headphones in. I just like, I go outside and I run, and that's a time where I can just think about anything or maybe just zone out, just kinda not have to think about anything at that time.
Right.
So, those are the the things that I like the most about it.
And so how many marathons you have you ran so far? Or half
Yes.
marathons?
Yeah, so I've ran 1 marathon, I just did that in November, and I've ran 6 half marathons so far. And I'm hoping to sign up for another marathon for the summer or the fall.
Okay. It can you compare the feeling or the experience from your first half marathon then to your recent one, current
Yeah,
recent one?
yeah, yeah. So my first half marathon, um, man, it was a lot of fun. It was really challenging because I didn't do a whole lot of research on the course, so I didn't know if it was gonna be really hilly or flat or a mix of both. And I chose one that had a lot of hills in it.
Right.
um, and so I went into it hoping that I wasn't going to walk, but I did walk. I walked several times, um, but and I did miss my time goal, by a few minutes, but once I was done, I was like, "Man, that was a lot of fun." Like, after like, being in the moment, not a whole lot of fun sometimes, but, it kinda left me hungry for more, and so my most recent half marathon, when was that? Sometime last summer. No, yeah, spring or summer. It's way different because I am better at pacing myself now and kinda understanding, like, okay, at mile 3, this is how I might feel, or mile 12, whatever. Um, so it feels a lot more comfortable. I don't feel as, like, as new to it anymore. I kinda know what the race is gonna be like. I know my nutrition strategy, so I think now when I do marathons, it's a lot more, or half marathons. Um, it's not as stressful. I mean, it is if I'm trying to go for a certain time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more of like a time where I can really test myself and see how my training has gone.
So, doing a recon on the track race or the route that you taking, is that something you look into now before you enter a race, or when you do enter a race, is that something you look into just to like know the lay of the land and trying to have a strategy down on how to tackle certain areas?
Oh yeah. Most race websites will kind of say like a course elevation profile.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I really want to hit a PR, personal record, um, it's easier to do when the course is flatter. So
Right.
that's kind of what I'll look for. But if I kind of just want to do one that's more fun, like I recently did my first trail half marathon, and that was actually my slowest half marathon time, but you're running through like these beautiful trails, and it had a lot of elevation gain, at least to me. So it wasn't a day that I was going to be trying to go all out. I just was kind of more enjoying the scenery.
Mm. See, that's something I kind of want to get into, but I don't think I can last too long running like a half marathon or a
Oh,
5K. But you know, that's something I do want to do. Want to get into it, and that's sprinting, like sprinting maybe
yes.
like a 200 meter or 400 meter. I haven't gotten around to training that yet because I'm kind of trying not to spread myself too thin, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The key word though that you said is yet. So it's on the table.
Well,
Um, yeah.
so I don't have it's cold out now, and I don't have too much access to like a salt runner because I think I'd rather run on a salt runner than a flat
Hmm.
treadmill. But um,
Oh, I've never ran on an assault runner, but I've seen in your videos that you have before. How would you compare that to a normal like treadmill?
well, so I ran on it probably like a couple of times. So since the assault runner is kind of curvy, so
Hmm.
um, it you only go as fast. The machine go as fast as you move, so you in control of the
Oh.
pace. So there's no like speed levels to operate to set. You control the speed, and then since it's curvy, if you're in towards the front of the machine, then you can go faster because you're doing like a
Okay.
more 4 foot strike at
Yep.
like the beginning of the curve. But if you
Yep.
towards the back, you can kind of almost do a heel strike. I believe I
Mm.
never did that before, but I think I would believe that you could do that, and you could
Yeah.
just control the speed of like if too fast to slow, especially if you want to do like a interval or something like that.
Hmm.
Instead of trying to like on the treadmill while you run the flag, I think you both of the machines you're gonna make noise like striking the floor.
Yeah,
So for
treadmills
sure
are
that's
not
gonna happen.
quiet.
Yeah, so for sure that's gonna happen. I don't have too much experience on treadmills running besides like putting it on the incline and walking backwards. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
warm. Yeah, so that's something I do to warm my like glutes and my quads up before I go strength training or squats or whatever lunges or something. But that's my only experience like with the treadmill so far with me.
Yeah. Yeah, the treadmill, I like to try to run outside, but at least here in Oregon, it's been snowing and then it
Mm,
turned to ice, and so it's just icy outside. So
right.
I've been using the treadmill quite frequently, and I'm always when I'm on the treadmill, I'll have my headphones on, and then one time I took them out, I'm like, "This thing is loud." Like, I 'cause when I have my music in, I can't hear it, but then I was like, "Man, this is really loud." I didn't realize.
Oh
And I was like,
wow.
I thought I was running very quiet, but I don't think there's a way to run quiet on a treadmill.
Oh, not especially when you very intense into it and just
Yeah.
like very focused. So you mentioned about your nutrition, how you go about fueling yourself, maybe like days prior up to your race.
Mm.
Like, do you have your nutrition dialed in for yourself?
Kind of. I I try to, but I just really like carbs, so I love pasta.
Right,
And so maybe if example I have a race on like a Saturday,
right.
probably like Thursday and Friday for dinners, I'll have more carbs like pasta or pasta's usually my favorite, so I'm a big pasta fan, but
Right.
I know that some people get way more dialed into it. I listen to a podcast. It's called Fuel for the Soul, and
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty interesting because it kind of goes through listener questions or how they recommend you fueling for a race. So I try to implement, but I'm still trying to working on that aspect.
Do you also try to hit your protein goals?
That is a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, but it's like I said, I love carbs. And
Right.
so I mean, I don't really focus on that too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know like what my protein goal is. I know you can figure that out some way,
Right.
but that's not usually what I'm focused on.
Right. So my
Yeah.
next question, I kind of think I know the answer to this, but who are some of your running inspos that you look up to, or that you follow, or
Um,
that you listen to? You already stated somebody that like you listen to the podcast. I never heard of that
yeah.
one.
Yeah, so I think a lot of like running people that I follow. One of them, it's actually a group, but it's called Believe in the Run.
Yes, I
That's
heard
just
of
their
them.
Instagram. That's probably one, like a podcast I listen to each week. They also have a YouTube where they do shoe reviews.
Right.
And
I
that's,
seen them.
yeah, and they were actually the ones who helped me run the New York City Marathon in the fall. So, yeah, they're pretty cool people. Um, who else do I follow? That is a good question. Um, if you've heard of Nick Bear,
See, that's who I was
um,
waiting on you to say.
yeah, Nick Bear, because I mean, he's he describes himself as a hybrid athlete, which is totally true.
Right.
But I just like his philosophy behind running and just kind of um, working out in general. Of um, Yeah, and he has a YouTube as well that kind of will follow his progression through a huge training cycle for a marathon, and then he'll go after that goal. So I just like how his kind of YouTube, I think, preaches like one of my favorite phrases that's come from one of his podcasts is you want to focus on being consistently good over occasionally great because everyone can have that occasionally like really great workout, but
Mm-hmm.
then you want to be that can only mean so much, but you want to be consistent, kind of doing it every day, like even if
I
you don't
love
want
that.
to.
I
Yeah.
I watch a lot of his YouTube, and I never heard him say that, and that's
Oh,
dope.
it
Or
might
maybe
have.
I didn't put. I might not have
Yeah.
paid attention to it well, but that's a really dope saying.
Yeah. So I can't take credit for that, but I think that's probably one of my favorite sayings now these days, because that can be applied to, I think, a lot of things in life, not just
Not just
jump
fitness
roping or, yep,
or
if
sports related. Yep, I totally
exactly.
agree. So, let's talk about the New York Marathon.
Yeah.
Is that the last one that you did, or you did one something after it?
That's the last one I did. That's my first marathon I did in November. Yeah.
Right, I do remember. You was posting about that, and you met a lot of very popular people there too. You mentioned Believe in the Run.
Yeah.
I think you. I don't know his name. I think his name is Matthew or
Oh,
something. Start
Matt
with a
Choi?
yeah, Matt Choi. Yeah, I seen you met him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good reminder. Those are other people I follow. But yeah, so that was in obviously New York, but one of my favorite events from that, besides running the race, was a group run the day before the race, and that's where I got to meet all these kind of running influencers of Matt Choi, Ben Johnson,
yep.
and then all the Believe in the Run people. I got to meet Emily Heller, who is Run Like Heller on YouTube and
Oh,
Instagram.
okay.
she does shoe reviews. She's also really cool.
Right.
Um, so that was awesome because you follow these people on YouTube or Instagram, and I mean, obviously they're real people, but then when you meet them in person, you're like, oh my gosh, like you're in front of me. So
Right. But then
yeah,
after a while, it's just like y'all just like click and y'all just like very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
Like
they're
you don't
just
get
yeah.
starstruck. Did you?
Hmm.
I don't know if he came there, but did Ed Bud? Do you know who Ed Bud is?
Mm-mm.
He's a shoe review guy. In the UK.
Oh. No, I someone else from the UK though. His name is 40. Well, his
Oh, 40
Instagram 40
run.
runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
there. Yeah,
That's dope.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
shoes, and we're not gonna say brand names, but
Hmm.
there, like I was when I was trying to learn about running, and I didn't know there was like so many types of running shoes. You got your daily training, you got your 5K, you got your race shoe, you got your marathon shoe. So, describe the type
Yeah.
of shoe that you like, or describe the type of structure of a shoe that you like to run in.
Yeah, so there's lots of different types of shoes, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
I, I so recently I worked at a running store, and before that, I thought I knew a lot about shoes. But then during that time, I realized I still have a lot to learn.
right,
Um, so I got to learn a lot about shoes there, which was awesome. But my favorite type of shoe to run in, um, I run in neutral shoes, so that means there's neutral shoes and there's stability shoes, based on how your foot lands kind of when you're running. And so
right,
neutral shoes, that means they don't have any extra stability. Um, I prefer a shoe that's more cushioned. I know some people like to have more of that ground contact feel,
right.
but I like to have cushion under my
The
feet.
max cushion,
Yeah, I guess a lot of the well, one of my current daily trainers is considered a max cushion shoe.
right,
Um, and yeah, I tend to go towards ones that have more cushion, except when I'm doing maybe a speed workout. So that could be either a tempo run or on the track or intervals on the treadmill. I'll go with a shoe that's a little bit more firmer because then it's just easier to kind of have your foot pop off the ground.
oh,
Um, but yeah, you definitely don't need all those different categories of shoes of daily trainer, speed workout, race shoe.
right,
Because I definitely didn't when I started, but because I got to work at that running store, um, I was just kind of able to get a bit more shoes, and
right.
then through the marathon, um, we also were given some shoes, which was very nice.
Yeah, I seen. I was jealous.
Yeah.
I was so jealous. But that's the same way with me when I started like cross training a little bit or some
Mhm.
CrossFit CrossFit training a little bit. Like there's so many shoes and there's so many um what you want to call it features in the shoe that help you
Yeah.
train. And yeah, there's a lot with like CrossFit type cross training type shoes that like I didn't know. So I kind of do know like what type of shoe I like to train in now since
Mhm.
like I done learned how to pick through what features that a shoe has and how I like to train. So, but
Yeah.
is it? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, what when you're jumping or working out at the gym, what type of shoe do you go for? Do you like that more cushion, or do you like that more minimalist feel when you're jump roping? Because then you can kind of feel the ground more.
Well, I think it's well. It depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm just like maybe if I'm just like jump roping and maybe say like I'm doing like a box jump or something,
Mhm.
then it might be like a barefoot shoe, or
Mhm.
maybe it might be like a shoe that got like a 6 millimeter heel raise or
Yeah.
something like that. Um, something like that that I can squat in or something like that. Then if I'm doing like say like something like on the row machine and then wall walk, so I need that little feature on the back of the foot where it can just grip onto the wall that I can stay put or
Hmm.
slide down, or it can hook into the foot place into the rower so I don't experience heel slip. Um, I think that's about it so far. I don't use too much running shoes when I training because I'm gonna burn through them. Oh,
Yeah.
and then there are some shoes that have a rope climbing feature because I climb
Oh,
use the rope, and so if I'm sliding down, then I'm gonna burn through certain shoes. Like if I climb the rope with a running shoe and I slide down, I'm gonna burn the midsole up from the friction.
yeah.
So it's either right now it's just either like some barefoot shoes that I can like lift weights in and do lunges, maybe some box jumps or something like that, and then some CrossFit type shoes where I can do burpees and grip the ground, grip the wall, climb the rope, come down, and still hit like some heavy re- weight resistant training. So
Yeah.
those two. I might got like maybe like four pairs of training shoes that I just rotate
Okay.
and train in so far.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, there's so much shoe technology out there for all different types of things. So I enjoy learning about different aspects for different sports.
So what's next for Run with Holly?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have some races I might sign up for. Um, but as far as posting on my account, I need to get better at that because I just have fallen out of the habit. Um, because something that I realized is, like I mentioned before, with running, I don't have any, what are these called? AirPods or earbuds in.
Right,
Um, and so it's just really peaceful to me. And so I find if I take out my phone or take a video, it's just kind of ruining the rhythm. Whereas with a jump rope,
mm-hmm.
you know, how I used to take my videos a lot was I had a tripod. I'm sure most people
Right,
that take jump rope videos do, and I could just set that up. I could be listening to my music, and it you're usually jumping. At least what I did, I was just jumping to the beat of the music. So
right.
I found that it kind of was easier in a way because it's less interruptive of
Right, like
I just had my
so
phone set
I
up.
be seeing like most runners. I don't know if it's a GoPro that they using to record themselves running, and like so like certain shoe review runners be like focusing the camera on their feet. So do you find that just a little distracting? Like it mess with your rhythm because usually people run with their arms like in a cadence
Mhm.
or in a pace, but you got this tripod extended stick. You know what I'm saying? Just out putting weight on your shoulders or forearms or something. You find that a little distracting?
Yes, I have one of those tripods. I don't use a GoPro or anything, I just use my phone. So even with
Oh,
that, it makes it I know GoPros, I assume, are lighter, and less heavy. I guess that's what lighter means, but, I've tried I've tried running with it just, like, on the street, um, and I didn't really enjoy it. I'm sure that I could get used to it because I've heard some of those running YouTubers kinda just be like, "It's just a part of me now when I'm running," or some people just use their phone and they just hold it out, and they've said it's a part of them now. They don't really notice it. I
mm-hmm.
just haven't done it enough where it seems second nature. It just seems still kind of like a
Yeah.
process.
I always wanted to ask somebody that, like, how if that was like a little distracting to them just to hold their phone out and talking and just doing those type of things.
Yeah, I find it distracting, and it might just be me, but I also would be self-conscious if I'm running, like, past someone and my phone just out here and I'm talking to it,
Mm-hmm.
that's just, it works for some people, it hasn't worked a whole lot for me yet,
Right.
but for the people that do it, it is entertaining to hear kind of their thoughts when they're running.
Well, we don't want anything to take the joy from you.
Thank
So how do
you.
you go through? Do you do any resistance training for your running? Like some kind of like lunges, squats sometimes.
No.
Any mic? No. Okay.
Um, that is a goal of mine this year is to kind of get more strength training sessions in. I think
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's just really easy for me to be like, I'm just gonna do my run for the day, and then I gotta go to work, and then I don't want to do another session in the evening. Um, or I just haven't found a balance of because you can do both in one day, like one after the other. I just that usually means I have to wake up earlier, and I just haven't done
You don't want to
that.
sacrifice
So,
any sleep.
yeah, I try to. I mean, I try to wake up at like 5 a.m., but then I just snooze that alarm, and then I just have less time to.
Come on now. But
I
you know
know,
what?
I know.
That's something I haven't done yet is a 2 a day. I don't so because I'm a morning person, so I like
Yeah.
to do mines in the morning. It kind of set the tone for the day,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
same.
I work from the afternoon until like 8 o'clock. So by the time I get home after work, then I'm spent.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
so as long as I can get up in the
I
morning, I can get it.
Yeah, as long same. I much prefer working out in the morning because, like you said, I think it sets the tone for the day. Um, I've only done 2 workouts a day, um, like, a few times of I would do, like, half of my run in the morning and then half of
Hmm.
it in the evening just so it'd take less time, but you know who does 2 workouts a day is, Mana, Mana Skips. She'll do
Yes.
the 75 hard. I think that's the
Oh yeah,
challenge.
you're
And
75
she'll
hard. Yeah.
do yeah, she'll do I've seen her do, like, 2 a day for at least I think it's 45 minutes, and that's crazy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, yeah. I'm scared to do that. To be honest,
Same.
like because there's so much accountability to go into that, and I'm not saying I can't be accountable, but 2 workouts, 45 minutes. One got to be outside,
Yep.
read 10 pages, drink a gallon of water, no cheat meals, and they got to build
Yeah.
some kind of mental strength for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's a great I mean, it's that's why it's called challenge. But I don't know. I've been tempted because she'll usually announce that she's doing it for anyone to join, and I've been tempted to try to do it, but for at least in my experience, trying to change so many things at once, like doing 2 workouts a day, one of them has to be outside, all drinking all the water and reading. I think for me, it works better if I kinda slowly put those
Integrated,
things into my yeah, that's
yeah,
the word I'm looking for, instead of all at once because for me, when I've tried to do a lot of things at once like that, it just isn't sustainable for me. But
kind
for
kind of got a little
people who it doesn't
overwhelming.
work yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, but, um, it's cool when other people can do it. I mean, yeah, like you said, that's some mental toughness right there.
Kudos to y'all doing 75 hard. We
Yeah.
ain't taking no shots at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I see you have is that the new RA hoodie?
Yes, the
Pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I've seen that. Cool.
trying to break it in a little bit. There's a lot of this RA clothing that I haven't wore yet. It's just like in the
Oh, really?
closet.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. When I had their sweatshirt, it's like the softest sweatshirt ever.
The best thing I like about this is this right here. Like if I put my hood on, it doesn't like come
Mhm.
up to here when I had the hood on. So like
Yeah.
it like give me some breathing room. That's the best thing about these hoodies that I like.
Yeah.
And I finally got a yellow one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one I had was, the all white one. It was when oh, which one was
Oh,
it?
you know what?
The Fly 24/7, I think, and, like, it was a box on the front that
Right.
said
I
that.
still got that
Yeah.
one. I'm scared to put that on. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
when you was an athlete for RA, I used your code to get that that sweater, that
Oh,
hoodie.
really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
do remember that
nice.
since you brought it up.
Oh yeah. Yes, that was yeah, yeah. But nice hoodies for sure.
For sure. Are you are you I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't know. I was gonna ask you about like any sponsorship that you've been getting as far as like opportunities when since you've been
Oh,
going back to running. I mean, you don't
mm-hmm.
have to say what brand or what it is, but just like
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so once I started running more, I think um what happened was I kind of took a step back from RA. I think most
right,
people who followed me figured that out just because when I enjoyed my experience like being an RA athlete, but I felt like if I was going to be kind of transitioning my content from more jump rope to running, it wasn't really like supporting the RA brand because I wanted to be when I was an RA athlete, I wanted to like be promoting that, and I knew going forward I wouldn't be promoting it as much,
right,
and I just didn't feel like that would be like fair to have that tag of RA athlete, but not really be talking about it.
right,
So I kind of took a step back from that, but while I was doing it, it was a lot of fun.
right.
Um, and since starting running, um, I was able to with I didn't talk about it. It's with
Okay.
Believe in the Run and New Balance.
Mm-hmm.
They can last spring they had an application of, hey, we're partnering with New Balance to have some extra entries into the New York Marathon because usually you have to qualify for that or run through a charity. And I just applied on their, I think it was just like an easy Google form,
Mm-hmm.
and they chose me, which was really cool. And so I got to run the marathon with Believe in the Run and New Balance. And throughout that process, New Balance was very generous and um, gave us some gear and shoes to try out, which was awesome.
Right.
Um, that's been the main one, I think, is that New York Marathon, which was a great experience. But I'm
Are
not
you gonna?
sponsored by them like now. That was just for around that race.
Oh, because I was finna ask you, are you gonna try that? What it's called? It's a New Balance Super Comp Trainer 3 V3 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. That is releasing, I don't know when that one is. I think it might be in the spring, but I have version 1 of that and version 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, I might try the third one. It depends on how much it's gonna be because everything keeps getting more expensive. But I might try it, but I like to try other shoes as well because I already tried the first two ones, but um I might. I'd probably say it's probably like an 80% chance that I'd buy that shoe.
Are you surprised
Yeah.
that I even know that?
I was. I mean, you got that name down. When you said that, I was like, "Oh man, Larry knows."
I do a little research here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have any advice? Because I just did a episode with a gentleman, and then he's getting into the running. And so I told him that I was gonna ask you about any advice for somebody that like starting or finna begin running and want to run into like a half marathon. Like, do you have any tips for any beginners to want to get into that?
Yeah. Kind of just how I started was I when I was training, I think for my first race, it was a 10K, so that's 6.2 miles. But my training plan that I was following, it it wasn't in like, okay, you need to run like 5 miles this day. It would be around, okay, on Monday you're gonna run for 30 minutes. And so I think that for me, just having it kind of based in minutes helped me be like, okay, I don't need to run exactly 4 miles, but if I can do that in 40 minutes, great. Or if I can run a little bit longer in 40 minutes, great. So I think a lot of times people get caught up in running a certain mileage
Mm-hmm.
each day or each week. But I think if you just kind of just start slowly and maybe putting it in minutes based instead of mileage based, it can kind of help you wrap your head around it more. And if you're jump roping, before running for one of my half marathons. I I think I ran maybe 3 or 4 days out of the week, but I still had 2 days where my workout was jump rope, and so that kind of helped me keep jump roping, and it was a different type of workout for my body to do, which I think helped me be stronger.
Would you call that anaerobic training, something like that?
For running,
Well, just like to keep up the so like you say you run like 4 days a week, right? And so the
mhm.
other days is besides the rest day, you jump rope. So you kind of keep like your heart rate up, but
Yeah, it
not
was more of like a hit focused because when I did that, it was, the jump rope dude style of, intervals of maybe you're jumping rope 30 seconds and then body weight exercise. So, yeah, I'd say that was more higher heart rate kind of activity.
now. Do you do any interval training with your running?
Yeah, the one different types of interval training. Recently, like on the treadmill, it's been, after a warm up, I'll do 800-meter repeats. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll do those 400-meter repeats, or again, that's distance based, but sometimes I'll just do 1 minute on, 1 minute off, or 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off type of thing, which just helps kind of change it up during the week.
All right. What about
Yeah.
like nutritious wise? Knowing that like what worked for you won't work for everybody else, but just maybe like on a general basis.
Nutrition wise, um, I don't know. I don't. That is a good question. I don't really focus a whole lot on what I eat.
Right.
I mean, typically before a run, I run in the mornings. I will have something to eat. I usually eat like a couple graham crackers because that's easy to digest.
Right.
Um, and then I prefer to have like a bigger breakfast, and then kind of a smaller lunch, and then normal dinner.
Now, is
But
this after you train?
eating the graham crackers.
Well, so I mean, like the bigger breakfast after you know
Oh,
done your workout.
yeah, yeah. So, example, yesterday I ran in the morning, ate a few graham crackers before, and then afterwards I had a bigger breakfast of like had some eggs and hash browns, water, and coffee type of thing. So that keeps me full.
Yeah, that's
Um,
same way with
yeah,
me. Like sometimes I wake up and maybe, and I probably shouldn't be eating that like that, but like sometimes I have like a crustable or two, so I could just
oh
have
yeah,
something in my stomach, but nothing
yeah,
full to like hinder me from moving. And then when
yeah,
I come home, I probably two pancakes, four eggs, three
oh
sausage
yeah,
patties, or something like that. But yeah,
yeah. Nutrition is, yeah. I keep it pretty simple.
yeah. Um, you got anything for me? Any questions or anything you want to know about anything?
Yeah, just how is. I'd say my question would be like, how is so you've been an RA athlete for a while. How has that kind of
Hmm?
changed over the time? Because you've been an athlete for two years or a little more.
Probably like 2 years.
Yeah,
I mean the mission's still the same though, is to
yeah,
promote and help people and keep the community together and growing. As far as like me being a RA athlete, I don't think what I do change much as far as like um, people DM me and I answer them back. So I don't
yeah,
feel like I'm not too good to answer people. I'm
yeah.
always still trying to help people. Um, and that's the RA way.
Oh yeah.
As far as like me and my account, like since I don't have like jumps or skips or move in my username, it's still I
Oh
kind of look at it now like this is still personal to me. So now I'm just starting to add more things on my platform about me. Like I'm getting a little bit into CrossFit, still
yeah.
a rookie in that, getting a little bit into gymnastics. Um, And then sometimes I show like some personal stuff, man. Like you might see me dancing a little bit. I really can't dance. I probably show a video of me doing karaoke, which I can't sing. Just just something more about me that you normally
Yeah,
don't see, because you really ever hear me talk on my account anyway. So
yeah,
and then this podcast just like another dimension, which has helped me to speak more and not be more of an introvert. And but like as far as like being an athlete for RA, like the mission don't change, hasn't changed, not one
yeah.
bit. So
Okay, and then if you could only keep one of your jump ropes, you can only choose one. One.
I
Which one
I
would you do?
I feel like you already know the answer to this.
Yeah, I think I do, but I wanna hear you say it.
So it's definitely gonna be the legacy rope. That's my
Yeah,
first love.
yeah,
Since like the Facebook group, I had the legacy rope. I was kind of frail then, and I didn't have like weight to lose, so I didn't choose the speed rope. Which at that time he didn't have none on his website during COVID. He just had the
yeah.
legacy
I think
rope.
he sold out.
Yeah. So um, yeah, the legacy rope gave birth to me, to my jump rope journey for sure. So I would definitely take that.
Yes, the
Nah.
legacy rope. I mean, I still have mine, and I would always like try to do the same tricks that I would do with the speed rope. I
Right.
never, it just never looked as smooth. But when you do it, it looks the same. So,
Yeah, we done
yeah.
had a lot of disputes. Me and that legacy rope smacked me on my back, snapping in half on me, and
Oh
um,
yeah.
but that's not because of the material or nothing. That's just a user error. I'm just using it way too hard than what it's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
yeah, I done
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah.
I done snap probably like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. I learned how much of a difference using a jump rope mat could help
Oh,
prolong the lives of my jump ropes once I got one. It
right.
actually makes a big difference.
It does, but still, I'm
Yeah.
still too hard on my ropes, and I keep snapping all of them. I'm sorry, people. I can't say I won't. It won't happen again. But
I think it just happens. Like mine would snap when it got really cold outside. I think it just
right.
unfortunately happens.
So, but you know what? This is what I would say. Like, if anybody doing any jump roping outside, right, and you using PVC, I probably would advise you to use like a beady rope
Oh
to
yeah,
jump
I
outside,
agree.
and then also like a cable, a PVC cable
Mhm.
rope, because like
Mhm.
you won't have to worry about snapping your rope. You could always replace the beads on your beaded rope,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, that's why. So it could be like a cross rope, the night rope from Rush Athletic, or
Mhm.
any other cable rope that you can come across if you jumping outside in the cold. Those like the two main ropes, and yeah, and also like by doing that, like you kind of coming out your comfort zone from using the PVC if you are a
Exactly.
PVC user, unless you can get
Mhm.
in the gym. But yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna make a point about that, but you beat me to it. Of when you have to switch ropes, it's like a
Mhm.
whole different. I mean, you can try to do the same tricks. Like I would use PVC, and then it gets colder. And like, okay, I gotta go to the beaded rope, and the double unders. You can't. It's different. I think it's
Right.
a little bit slower because the beads than the PVC, but it's kind of fun to learn the same tricks over again, but with a new rope.
Almost definitely. Very challenging on the mental. It kind of make you ambidextrous. Also, cause like
Mhm.
now I'm starting to practice and make release on my non-dominant side. So just
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
man.
it, it's coming along slowly. It's coming along slowly. I tried to do like a step through on my non-dominant
Okay.
side. And it just looked nasty for sure. I might have to
Um,
record that.
when you do your mid release, did you learn the wrist pop or the kind of the tossing one?
It was the tissue box.
Tissue box, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the tissue box. And then I kind of like started learning the wrist pop. Once I learned the angle of the rope, where it has the most tension to get a good pop and release, and then
Mm-hmm.
but that took months. That took like
Oh, the
seven,
mic
eight
release
months,
took me months to learn.
and now
That's
I
my
see
next
people
question I have for you.
the mic release.
Oh, kind of related, but what trick stumped you for the longest? Which trick has was the hardest for you to learn?
Oh, easy answer. So it's crazy because like back then when we started jumping, like I kind of unlocked the switch cross double under real easily, right? Because
I
I used to
know. I
practice.
remember that.
I used to practice that at home in my living room without jumping, just trying to form my arms, trying to get the right motion with the arms, and so once I unlocked that, but I always had trouble with the Mayweather crossover. Like I always used to get
Mm.
jammed up doing that. That
Is
gave
that
me fits.
the double undercross?
Yes, the cross open Mayweather double under.
Oh, when you're jumping up and you cross, and then yeah, that one.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
stumped me for so long. But it was crazy because I could do the switch cross, and then I didn't have too much trouble with the double cross. But just
Mm-hmm.
stringing the cross open, they gave me fits for like
Cross open.
yeah. So, but once I unlocked that, I think that's when my skills went up another level. Cause now I can just piece moves together. But yeah, they gave me fits for sure, which is odd because a cross switch cross would be a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, I remember when the switch cross was becoming really popular, and then you just did it like so easily. I think you were one of the first people I saw that like got it really well. And it took me a lot longer than I expected for me to learn it because
Hmm.
it's I don't you have to you have to switch your hands and then when you mess up it really hurts because usually the rope will like just slap you really
Oh
hard.
man, it stings bad.
Yeah.
Stings bad.
Yeah.
So before we
Yeah.
get off here, do you have any last words for the community? Either if it's jump roping, or either like they want to get into running, or something you could say that kind of like combine both aspects of running and jumping together, or just life aspects in general.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to share is that you don't have to only choose jump rope or only choose running. You can do both and be a part of both of kind of the online communities. I think, um, yeah, you can do both, and it's both really good for your exercising. But I'd say just to kind of quoting again the Nick Bear podcast, but being consistently good over occasionally great is something I try to live by.
Yes, ma'am. All right, people, there you have it. You got Run with Holly on the podcast. I really learned a lot from you from this. Like,
Oh, thanks.
I really did. I really did. And I hope everybody take a piece of gem from her and adapt it into your life. Drop her some love below in the comments, man. Go to her page, drop her some love. Let her know how awesome she is. Holly, I really
Thank you.
appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks, Larry.
All
Had fun
right.
talking.
All right. Peace, everybody. Stay tuned.
Bye.